You are watching the AxonDAO podcast.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the AxonDAO podcast. I'm your host, Alea Cooks-Cambell, head of content here at AxonDAO. Today's episode is one I've been looking forward to for a while because I'm joined by someone who's not only brilliant, but a true builder in every sense of the word. Mack Stachowiak is our CTO, co-founder of AxonDAO, and the architect behind so much of our tech, from how we structure research funding to how we handle AI, data, and health sovereignty. And in this conversation, we're talking about what it actually takes to build decentralized science, not just as a technology, but as a new model for collaboration, research, and trust. Let's dive in. Okay, Mack, so I got to ask you what everybody wants to know. I see those CureRING boxes behind you. So since they're shipping now, can we get a little sneak peek and see what's inside?
Yep, this is the box. The box is, you open it. Inside you have a ring, charger, and backup cable. Basically, the rings are pre-charged. If you will take it out, it should be right away accessible to be utilized. You put it on your finger, you take your camera, you make a photo of the leaflet link that is under the QR code. And after that, it will take you to the page where you will be able to download the application, everything. The main landing page for the CureRING itself is CureRING XYZ. We already sent, pre-ordered rings to the people who did that for the last 2 months, plus some KOLs who are already testing it and giving us some comments. But basically, it's a very small, nice, and easy to utilize on a daily basis device. It doesn't bother. It doesn't annoy. It's something that is a companion, but it's silent, which I really like. And just consider that data you are collecting, it's yours. It's something that you should know about yourself. And why not to start doing this right now? Of course, we were making some analysis about value and worth of what you are collecting. I would say it's more than you can imagine. And in the long run, we should be owners of our data and we should manage how we want to use it. Even if we will share the data for free with some researchers for the greater good, it should be educated decision. It should be our own decision, and CureOS is helping you to govern your data with your rules.
So those data insights are for you first, and then only if you choose to share them for the broader scientific community.
Yeah, an amazing thing is that, as I said, we have more than 145, but to be honest, there's close to 200. Some of them should be still tuned up. Algorithms that are able on a daily basis to calculate things about your heart, about the quality of how your body is reacting on stress. We have almost 30 different algorithms that are analyzing cardiovascular risks, which means that whether you have hypertension or you don't, you can at least be warned or be suggested what kind of steps you should make to reduce the risks. We have more than 30 different algorithms around the diabetes, about lifestyle, around the movement, amount of insulin. It's really interesting part in all of this. And on top of that, we started making some cooperative projects. One is around PTSD. And there we have already created more than 15 different algorithms that if you have a ring, they can observe your daily routines, how you live, how you are spending your time, and make really factual analysis that whatever you will do with that, it's still, it can save you in some cases, stop you from, moving to worsen some factors. It's really thoughtful.
So for anyone that's new to wearable health devices, what's the single most important biomarker that we're tracking, and why should they pay attention to it?
I would say heart rate. But it's like if you have just one leg, it's hard to stay standing on this. So I would say heart rate and steps. If you correlate them, you can quantify quite a lot of different, really amazing insights. Very, very simple and quite deeply explaining where you are, how it is with you. Before AxonDAO, I was searching for something that could truly change lives at scale. So what we do here, I think it's not just another app, but a fundamental reimagining of healthcare system. So how did it happen? Chris and I, we connected through the LinkedIn in 2023. And it was one of those, rare moments where, vision meets opportunity. And I think that we immediately recognized that together we are capable to build something, revolutionary, even, I say. So when Tarusha joined us, she was bringing her scientific expertise. The final piece, clicked into place, and things happened from that point of time. But what we created at AxonDAO isn't just a platform; it's a paradigm shift. Let's call it out loud. We are building an ecosystem where health data becomes intelligent, adaptive, and truly personal. So our vision is to democratize scientific research, while we are putting the individuals at the center of their own health journey. And the technology we are developing doesn't just store the data. We are not just collecting data. It learns from it. It learns from the data, evolves with it, empowers user to be active participant in research, rather than just passive subject. But in the same time, it also works for user health. But this is the kind of, in our opinion, it's a future of decentralized science, and we are making this happening now.
Wow. So what you're describing is actually really big. So we have, our CureRINGs, which are finally in people's hands. They're shipping around the world. And so for a lot of folks, this is our first experience with one of our physical products. But like the CureRING is just the beginning. And then behind the scenes, we have this much bigger system at work, which is CureOS. So take us back to the beginning. What was the original vision for CureOS? Why did you build it? And how do all the pieces fit together?
Well, the reason is like I did telemedicine platforms in late 2000s. And when you look at the history and the results in the last 20 years, basically nothing has changed. You see there was a period of time where telemedicine was very hot subject, digital health. And nothing has changed. It didn't improve our well-being. It didn't improve the health systems, basically anywhere. And after all those years, I felt like it's a good moment to come back to the roots and build something that will break the paradigm, break this issue of how to fund telemedicine, how to make system that help really change the health landscape, but in the same time can be net positive and can be something that factually help user. So from very simple things like CureOS is putting individual at the center of their own health journey. We are bringing with CureOS AI agents, programs that are specifically created to analyze the quant and the data in a way locally. At its core, CureOS is it's becoming basically health operating system. That's the explanation of OS. But it's some kind of comprehensive platform that is seamlessly integrates data collection, analysis, and personalized insights while maintaining absolute user, sovereignty. And just consider that the solution, CureRING, any kind of wearable that is connected, it's gonna be connected with CureOS. They collect the data. And the system is capturing this multi-dimensional health data set, from wearables like CureRING. and it creates complete picture of health, ever the most complete health ever assembled outside, clinical settings. Right now, we mapped and we are ready to implement close to 150 different algorithms, starting from stress, physical, activity, things that are quantifying pieces of you, and they can build the bigger picture, because with the intelligence layer that is a huge part of the CureOS, we just don't collect the data. We transform it into actionable knowledge, that those patterns that comes from the data you collect. The system allows you to see that, recognition and contextual analysis. So that's the thing that is, I would say, the profound change in terms of how telemedicine, in this case, old-fashioned telemedicine, will work. And agents are strictly focused, those AI programs focus on analyzing certain areas of your health. Altogether, it's being connected with orchestration, with some kind of logic that says, if this, then that. If you have that things, let's check this one. And altogether, they build like a very wide spectrum of observations around your health, how you are, where you are heading with your health.
Wow. So I love that. So it's not just the system that collects data. This is something that can learn and that can provide personalized insights to people that have a real difference in like how they live their lives. So let's talk about what that looks like today, because CureOS is not just a theoretical concept anymore. It's live. It's evolving and it's powering everything from the CureRING to real world research. So like, how does it actually work?
It's an agent framework. Those agents, they transform raw data, health data, into meaningful insights and actions. Just consider that agents are specialized digital experts that works together in an intelligent ecosystem, like an ant home. Each agent has its distinctive purpose. It monitors specific biomarkers, analyzed patterns, identified correlations. But their true power emerges, when the collaborative, they are collaborating through this orchestration layer. So I can give you an example. One agent might detect, declining sleep quality, while another observes, changes in heart rate variability, and a third tracks stress biomarkers. Even individually, these might seem like unrelated, fluctuations about your health. But this orchestration layer can connect those signals into and reveal the bigger picture. Your body is entering a recovery deficit that requires attention, for example, in this case. So the revolutionary part is that it bridges the gap between data collection and meaningful intervention. Still, this is not a doctor. It's a system that is just giving you suggestions. Observe the patterns behind your body. And it can say that, for example, your recovery metrics have been declining for 5 days. Consider prioritizing sleep and reduce, high intensity activities for, let's say, next 48 hours, right?
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I think you frame that beautifully, and I love you translating that to real world insight. Like, okay, like you've been overdoing it, or you haven't been sleeping as well. So, like, here's what we need to do to get you back on track. So, and what's really striking to me is that this isn't just about like clever software, cool devices. Like, you're talking about human context, and about designing systems that reflect how people actually live and think and feel. And that's something that traditional academic systems and traditional research systems, they often struggle to capture that. So let me ask you this. You said before that academia and that scientific research more broadly needs a platform that reflects real human experience, one that isn't afraid to ask new questions, even if that means risking failure. Do you see CureOS as the platform that sits between academia, people, and human experience?
CureOS is redefining that relationship between the scientific research and human experience. Somehow those both worlds need to coexist and harmonize with each other. So CureOS, which is built upon the architecture of AxonDAO, CureOS is making it possible because we are creating the missing link between the scientific ecosystem, this platform that bridges the controlled environment of academia with the messy, complex, reality of everyday life. So traditional research excels as at isolation and control, but struggles to capture the nuanced interplay of factors that determine real human health. And here, CureOS doesn't replace academic institutions; it amplifies and extends them. We are building a system, we've built a system that captures the full spectrum of human experience, those daily habits, the environmental factors, stress patterns, social interactions, psychological responses. Devices like CureRING, they are helping us collect them without bothering user to catch some thermometer or go to the pulse oximeter. It's all on your finger, and it can go for 4 days at least. And you don't have to focus on that. As long as you have it on your finger, it collects the data. Even if you will walk away from your phone, it still collects the data. So when you come closer to your phone, it will just synchronize the data and throw it into your encrypted, vault of your data. So those psychological responses, all this is contextualized, within the framework of scientific understanding, because we are not making this as amateurs. We know how to build scientific systems. We know how to apply medical devices, medical quality systems in terms of collecting data and building software. And revolutionary part of this approach is this commitment to privacy, consent, and user ownership. I know that it's easy to anonymize the data, make some analysis, and sell reports. We will not do that. We will ask users if they are willing to participate in stuff like that, but we will never do that behind their back, because every data point collected by the user is protected by that advanced encryption, and the governance protocols inside of the CureOS and AxonDAO ecosystem, they are put individuals in complete control on their information. This creates a completely new paradigm for research, one where participation doesn't require surrendering your autonomy. But if academia is the laboratory, CureOS is the field where science meets reality. It's where controlled environments evolve into living knowledge. And this is the foundation for a new kind of science, one that's more inclusive, more responsive, and ultimately more effective at addressing our most pressing health challenges. This means also that CureOS and this infrastructure that is behind it, that was created by us, is being now utilized also by other researchers. So if you have your research idea, if you think that the data from wearable like this might be important in your research, we are absolutely open into integrating your research into the data collection system. You can even create your research outside of the AxonDAO, as long as the user will give you consent to utilize the data they collect. We have nothing against that. So it means that even if we are unable to bring more projects, as long as they are, because of the just capacity of our team, even there might be situations when research projects are coming and asking to cooperate with us, and it just extends the possibilities from the perspective of users, which means that if you bought yourself a ring and collect the data and participate in research, you can not only pay the ring off completely from the rewards that are given to you while you are participating in research, it can give you basically extra, I would say, income, but it's based on rewards for your data you share with the researchers.
Wow, there's so much value there. And the way you put it is such a clear way of framing it. Academia is the lab and CureOS is the field. And this enables us to be very agile and responsive in how we collect that and translate it into human experience. Amazing. So just want to take us way back to the beginning for a second. When you first met Chris, did you know what decentralized science was?
Yes and no, because the idea of creating like a Facebook for scientists was created in the late 90s. It's an old story. Let's skip it. But I was conceptualizing, how to extend, fasten up, make science efficient more. And in late 2000s, I was really strongly playing with the subject of clusters, industry clusters. We even set up the cluster for the information and telecommunication technologies in my region. And I was observing how to create competition, which is a cooperation of competitors. But there was no this decentralized factor because back then there was no blockchain. But when I first encountered, projects like VitaDAO, it was a validation moment. I confirmed that, the others were beginning to see what I was seeing also before. Like-minded people find the similar solutions. So it was just a information that it was not just a blind, kind of, dead-end thought process. So, the potential for distributed systems to transform this scientific collaboration has been a North Star, I think that for the second part of my career. You can, for example, look at the research hub. When I saw that, first of all, I was impressed by, how they executed. The platform was working. The publications were there. You can vote. You can do this and that. Clean interface, solid design principles. But still, back then it was built upon the, traditional publication paradigm. At the beginning, it was basically digital wrapper. I still believe that absolutely Research Hub is the number one in terms of managing decentralized publication and the whole process, but we all have to evolve, and no one is the smartest here with the final and the best ideas. But I just wanted to build something that is going far beyond the publications, where the researcher and research becomes a living, evolving entity. So the scientists are building upon each other, and rather than just duplicating efforts, we are, we are using the fails and the data that was created during the failed research to avoid this in the future. So the idea was to create an ecosystem where all that stuff can be collected and can be utilized in between them. So that's what excites me in DeSci. It's just not about publishing model. It's not about focusing on very narrow area of something in let's say, in this case, healthcare. It's about fundamental reimagining, how the knowledge is created, validated, and shared. So DeSci represents system level transformation that is accelerating, not could. It is now accelerating discovery by orders of magnitude, and the science is more accessible, transparent, and also is responding. It's responsive towards, end user needs.
From what you're saying, I think you're speaking directly to one of the pain points that a lot of academic researchers have, which is that there's not open access to research, there's not open access to data, and there's not open access to each other. And so by breaking down the silos in this way, you're saying that like DeSci really creates this global scientific community where people can collaborate in a more responsive, a more agile, and ultimately a more human-centered way. So if you were to imagine that science was fully decentralized, how would you see researchers, institutions, and just everyday people everywhere benefiting from that shift?
Decentralized science will just catalyze the most significant transformation in research science, the scientific method itself. It's in this new paradigm, academia doesn't disappear, it evolves. So universities and research institutions, they become nodes in a global network rather than they are isolated, fortresses. Researchers gain, in my opinion, freedom for the bureaucratic constraints and then currently slow innovation to a crawl. Instead of waiting months or years to grant approvals, they can secure funding and begin working in days through decentralized mechanisms. We have this one thing, it's a super fresh stuff. It's like from today. We spoke with our partners in Australia. I don't know if it's going to happen, but there is a way we can do something really remarkable, like a supernova event in terms of financing DeSci. We will see how it goes. But the most revolutionary aspect is this democratization of participation. So DeSci creates the space for brilliant minds, that they are currently excluded from traditional systems. That's the thing. The independent researchers, citizen scientists, patients with the lived, experience, and innovators from diverse backgrounds. I'm talking even about intercommunication between the industries and the experts from different industries. For example, we are cooperating with SpineDAO project, and two founders of this there is a few people, but two main ones. One is a surgeon and the other one is a mechanical engineer. The second person is a lady, and her competence is about building mechanical structure that can support different types of issues with the spine. She's not a doctor. Of course, she knows about materials, but her brain is absolutely wired completely differently than doctor's mind, but still they together match. They isolate problem, they find solution, they execute, perform, and the patient walks out and basically they help. It's something that lasts long. They are from different, academic, areas. So in my imagination, the DeSci takes us basically rewrites schematics of research. It doesn't destroy anything. It's about world where equipment, protocols, data flow in a way freely between institutions instead of being, jealously hidden. And the idea is that the researchers are collaborating across, continents in real time. They don't have to wait for grant or dean approval. Of course, there must be some layers of, formalities, because the IP that is being created with such a team needs to be also supported in a way. And here also the blockchain blockchain contracts can calculate the amount of input that was given from this and that team. But it's not about even faster science. It's about fundamentally better science. That institutions that embrace this shift will thrive. They will survive the incoming revolution. You can see what's happening nowadays with AI. It's like in a Hitchcock movie. At the end of this year, we will have AI mathematician that will be basically absolutely Nobel Prize quality thinking artificial mathematician. And this entity will be able to create theories and resolve problems that are Nobel Prize level. End of this year. So we are building systems that enable collaboration and, at unprecedented scale to match the speed of AI. And we want to create ecosystem that reflects the full complexity and capabilities and diversity of human experience. And this is the future we are creating at AxonDAO, and what we are trying making accessible to anyone from DeSci world, not in a position of academia, but as this natural evolution.
So, wow. So we've covered a lot, but I do want to pause here and ask the obvious question. Have we learned anything cool yet? Like, from all the data that's coming into CureOS, from the entire complex range of human experience, are we seeing any surprising patterns or insights already?
We already uncovering insights that challenge conventional wisdom about human health. One of our most fascinating early discoveries involves, the profound impact of environmental factors, of psychological and physiological states. Our data reveals striking correlations between weather patterns, temperature fluctuations, barometric pressure changes. That's amazing because we are mostly water, by the way, and measurable shifts in mood, stress, biomarkers, cardiovascular functions. While this might seem intuitive, we are, quantifying these relationships with unprecedented precision across the diverse populations. We have an access to weather forecast and the data that was collected, in the past, like on a daily basis by the, for example, meteorological institutes. So we are also validating folk wisdom, through rigorous data analysis. So, for instance, our thermal imaging confirms that wearing a hat in cold weather significantly improves overall body temperature regulation. We knew that. But this simple intervention with measurable psychological, benefits make that change. So these findings represent just the beginning. As our use base grows and our data ecosystem becomes richer, we are developing increasingly sophisticated models of how lifestyle factors interact with health outcomes in real-world settings. Next week, I would say early next week, it's going to be ready tomorrow, but I just don't want to. Next week, we will show on the page CureOS.io, we will present main algorithms that we are rolling out now. Internally, they were created by the team inside of the CureOS. But those insights, they are powerful. What makes them powerful, isn't just the scientific validity. It's also their immediate applicability. So we are creating this feedback loop between research and daily life. And discoveries can be translated directly into, actionable recommendations that improve your outcomes. This is where also, again, CureRING gives an enormous user empowerment because CureOS will allow users to participate and deliver the data and allocate this in one place. So, as I said before, buying the ring means that basically with participating in research, you are paying it off and building very broad spectrum of information and understanding who you are, how good you are, what you should fix. And this is research that's not just academically interesting, but personally transformative. And we now scratching the surface, but we are going through the external crust layer of what's possible. And probably before summertime, before the summer holidays, we will introduce also algorithms that take into the assessment the blood test results. So information about calcium level, potassium, your hormones, even those basic numbers which are in every blood test, they are adding very, very good perspective against the data about your lifestyle, which is another level, and it's an amazing journey.
This is huge. I totally understand why you're describing this as a supernova level breakthrough. And I love that you said that this is just the beginning, because I think that's the part that most people forget. Like, these insights start small, but they compound. They have an exponential effect. And that's how we build the future. If someone's listening to this and they've never heard of DeSci before, or maybe they're still trying to figure out where they fit in, what would be the one thing you want them to take away from this conversation?
That thing is that decentralized science isn't just changing research, it's decentralizing our relationship with the knowledge itself. Originally, I'm trying to slow down my, I don't want to be too parabolic, but it's true that the revolution that we are leading at AxonDAO removes these artificial barriers that have kept science locked behind institutional walls for centuries. even if it sounds a little bit too much, still we are creating systems where funding flows to compromising ideas, regardless of academic pedigree, where data serves the people who generate it, and then participation is open for anyone with passion and insights. And this transformation is already happening. So it's not like we are planning this, it's already happening. What you need is curiosity, commitment, and right tools. And tools that we've built are, refining this are being refined every day. So distinction is fundamental. Traditional research centers institutions. Decentralized research, science, centers people. And when you empower individuals with, sovereignty over their data, when you build those systems that amplify collective intelligence rather than institutional authorities, you create the conditions for unprecedented innovation. And this isn't just about making research more efficient, it's about making it more human. It's not about longevity, it's about general healthness this moment, right now. And I think that the future of science isn't just locked in laboratories or hidden behind paywalls. It's distributed, collaborative, and accessible. And you are invited to help build it.
That's so beautifully said. Wow. Thank you. I think that's the perfect note to wrap on. Thank you so much for sharing that, for laying this all out, for sharing your time and your vision with us, Mack. It's always incredible to see how all the pieces are coming together, and really exciting to see where this is heading next. And to everyone who's listening, go.
No, thank you.
Thank you. And to everyone who's listening, thank you for being part of this movement with us. We'll be back soon, I promise, with more stories and more insights and more exciting changes from the frontier of decentralized science. We'll see you next time.